It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Sensabaugh drives at AD, flares the top to Anderson, down low to Markkinen, slides by AD and lays it up and in. AD still holding his hand. Jazz on a 9-0 run with 1:45 to play. Sensabaugh, deep three from the top, and he hit! Sensational Sensabaugh for three! Keontae retreats out, 10 on the clock, driving, fading off his left foot and tickling the twine! Keontae George with a marvelous one-on-one move, spins Cooper Flag around and fades back off the left foot and puts the Jazz up by 5 with 28 seconds to play.
The Utah Jazz break their losing streak. They get the win. 116-114 over Dallas. Lauri Markkinen with 33 points. You heard AD get hurt with about 3 minutes to go. That was a weird deal, PK. I don't know why they didn't call timeout. They played a possession 4-on-5, and then they gave up an easy layup or dunk at the other end. I don't know what they were doing with the game on the line, but the Jazz get the win and snap that streak. You got to win once in a while, and they got this one.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing either because I was watching college football.
Nice. We'll get to that college football game. That thing was awesome. For the Jazz, a little stretch in the schedule here where the wins may pile up. Not only do they get the Dallas win, but now they got Charlotte coming in, which is another winnable game. A team right around them in the standings. So we'll see what they do here. It's interesting as they keep playing all these guards and finding time for them, and it seems like they're keeping 2 of the 3 on the court between Walt Clayton Jr., who got to close another game, Keontae George, who had 19 points and 7 assists, and then Isaiah Collier, who I thought played well, finding Markkinen on a backdoor cut early in the fourth quarter. That was a pretty play. Got to find room for all of them for now anyway, and so far so good, I guess.
Okay.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Speaking of Charlotte, who will be here tomorrow for a 7:30 game, Charlotte lost to Indiana, 114-112. The wins are few and far between for the Pacers, but Rick Carlisle gets to career win number 1,000. That guy is a lifer, PK, and that is a big round number. Heck of an accomplishment.
Way to go, Rick.
Charlotte stays stuck on 13 wins. The Pacers pick up win number 7. Anthony Davis, third fastest NBA player to reach 10,000 career points.
You talking about Anthony Edwards?
Anthony Edwards, yes, not Anthony Davis. Anthony Edwards, 120, and they get the win, 131-122 over Cleveland, who the Jazz will be seeing shortly as well. Giannis Antetokounmpo says he would never force the franchise's hand with his future. Quote, there will never be a chance and there will never be a moment that I will come out and say I want to trade. That's not my nature. My plan is to be here for the rest of my career. If they don't want me, I'm not the one in charge. I'm an employee. I'm locked in. My priority is just staying healthy. Never, PK. That's a hard thing to say in the world of sports, but Giannis went ahead and said it. I would have recommended he didn't say it.
Yeah, but I think the way he says it then takes the heat off of him. He seems like a sensitive guy who's concerned what other people think, and he knows he's in a small market, and so they worship him there. So this is sort of a soft way out.
I'm not the one in charge. Yeah, I'm not the one in charge. I'm an employee.
Literal.
Yeah.
He's not. He doesn't mean it. I mean, So I wouldn't hold him to it. I think he's trying to act like he's trying to do the franchise well while saying, get me out of here.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
BYU and Utah tomorrow night, 8 o'clock at the Huntsman Center. 2 teams at opposite ends of the Big 12 headed in different directions. It's a rivalry game, PK, but you really feel the juice in this? Seems like a foregone
conclusion. Well, if they're
conclusion.
at the opposite ends, that would mean that is Utah at the bottom?
Tied for last, 0-2. BYU tied for first, 2-0.
Well, you can't be headed in a different direction if you're at the bottom. You're already there.
I guess you can separate yourself out from those other 5 teams. I'm expecting it'll be 3-0 and 0-3, and I think most people are.
Yeah, but they're already there, and BYU is looking like they're already there. And this is one of those times when we've seen it over the course of the time that we've been here for 3 decades, when one team's up and the other team is down. Doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to be in perpetuity by any stretch, but that's the way it is now because we've seen it reversed. And so for the Ute fans, I get it. This isn't anything that you're excited about right now because your program is not even close to where it has been and obviously where you want it to be. But that doesn't mean that that has to be the next 10 years that way. That's the point I'm making. Sure, they're at the bottom now, but you do have a new coach, a new regime. It's a new time. Let's see what he can do. This is no surprise where they are. And this is a hard job for Alex. It's never been harder, really, when you think about it, because they are in the toughest conference basketball-wise that they've ever been in. So it's going to be harder to do. And BYU, I can argue, remains to be seen because they've got a lot of work to do. But you could argue right now that certainly that they have the possibility to be the best team that they've ever had. And with the money flowing in, the best time, the best era, as opposed to just an individual team. So Alex and the Utes have their work cut out for them, but let's see where they're at in a year or two. It doesn't look good right now. We expect, as you say, the result. You're already without naming the final score. We expect the one team to win, the other team to lose. But let's see where we're at in a year or two as far as, because we've seen both teams be in opposite directions, and now it's sort of flip-flopped. So I have hope for the Utes to gradually get better and in 2 to 3 years be a lot more competitive than what they are right now.
It's interesting what you say about BYU. I don't think it's really debatable that this is the best era. And then as far as best team, it looks like it's certainly top 5. There's a lot of work to do, another 20 games to play. We might end up arguing that it's, number 3, 2, or 1.
Yeah,
could be the best team.
If they're in the Final Four, then obviously they would be. I guess the next closest would be Jimmer's team, and then you play the what-if game with Brandon Davies. I happen to think they would have gone to the Final Four given the bracket they were in at the time, but we know what happened. That's not going to happen today. I don't think. If you had a similar situation, this is my own personal opinion, that player would be banished for the entire season. Certainly it wouldn't be publicly put out there like it was. It would
definitely have been handled. I'm 100% sure it would have been handled differently. And then you just get into the gray era imagining how it would have been handled. But it would have been different, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we can just look at that with Retzlaff. I mean, there were all the talk about a 7-game suspension as opposed to, withdrawing for school from a semester or a year. Yes. Which I think what it would have been back in the day, and then that didn't look like where this was headed at all. Now, Retzlaff didn't want any part of a 7-game suspension, so he went to Tulane. But all right, the rest of college hoops. Utah State on the road at Boise State. The Aggies 13-1 on the season, like BYU, 4-0 in conference. This should be a much better test than some of the games they've just played. Tip-off's at 7. Coverage begins at 6:30 tomorrow. Utah Tech and UVU are playing an in-state game tomorrow at 2. UVU's coming off a win over SUU in another in-state game. They just beat them 89-72 last night. Weber State over your Lumberjacks, PK. They beat Northern Arizona 78-65.
Yeah, well, Troy Hudson isn't walking through that door for NAU.
Weber's at Northern Colorado tomorrow, and SUU's playing Cal Baptist, who just beat Utah Tech. DJ and BK.
#NFL.
Falcons set to interview former starting quarterback Matt Ryan for their newly created President of Football role with the franchise. Ryan has been working in the media since retiring from playing. PK, that's it. You've never really been into politics. How'd you like to be President of Football?
Yeah, POF?
Yeah,
absolutely.
The big old POF. Yeah, he's the POF. I mean, that's better than being the POFO, which I think is the title here. President of Football Operations. The President of Football sounds like a role that stretches.
Well, it sounds bigger, doesn't it?
It sounds much bigger than just running the show in Atlanta, yeah. Dolphins in the market for a coach. They let Mike McDaniel go during our show yesterday after the 7-10 season. And it just, boy, everything you read in here right now, everybody's anticipating Harbaugh to Miami. So, see how that plays out.
Yeah, as I said, man, I'd be cautious as far as who you have at quarterback.
Yep.
I would survey the field. If you have these options that we're led to believe that he could potentially have, I would literally go and see what's the best quarterback situation. Not necessarily the most important thing, but I would take that into serious consideration.
I am 100% sure that you are thinking the way he is thinking, because he and his brother talk football, and that is exactly what Jim Harbaugh did when he went to coach the Chargers. Hey, have we got somebody that I can work with here or not? And he saw Herbert and I'm taking that one.
And then if they want to, they can talk basketball with their brother-in-law, because their sister is married to Tom Crean, who was the coach at Marquette and I believe maybe Georgia. And he's friends with Fran Fraschilla. So you can get in a pretty good discussion group with Harbaugh's brother-in-laws if the Harbaughs are interested in going into basketball.
So if you're Harbaugh, play this very slowly, see what happens next week. Just all the speculation. Would Green Bay make a change if they lose to the Bears? Would Buffalo make a change if they lose in Jacksonville? We got playoff games coming up, and both those teams have a better quarterback situation than Miami does.
Well, no one needs a head coach right now. This is literally the off season, and really, comparing it to college football, there is virtually no off season with the recruiting stuff that always goes on, right? And particularly right now, right after the season with the transfer portal, and teams are taking players left and right. So with all that down, you can relax for 2-3 weeks. They don't consider it the new season in college football until what? The end of February, maybe March. Although February, you do have the scouting combine that they do, right? The end of February.
Are you talking NFL? The NFL new season? Yeah. They literally have a date for the new league year. Right. Because of contracts. I don't know what it is. I have to look it up. But there's
March 13th.
You do have the scouting combine, which I believe is the end of February that they have back there in Indianapolis. But that's still 5 weeks away. So there's really no hurry on either side.
It feels wide open in the NFL playoffs. You think anything definitive about these games over the weekend? 6 games, and one of them's Monday. We'll be back for that one, obviously. Rams and Carolina, 2 o'clock tomorrow. Packers and Bears, 6 o'clock tomorrow. And then Bills, Jaguars, Niners, Eagles, and Chargers, Patriots on Sunday.
I like every one of these games as far as in my entertainment value. I mean, no, I don't have a favorite in terms of any personal preference. I can pick favorites who I think may win, but I don't care on any of the outcomes, but I am interested in all of them. That's the NFL playoffs. From the first kickoff to the last, they really enthrall you, because there's exceptions, obviously, but generally speaking, man, you could go either way, and who knows what's going to happen. And that's the most exciting part for me as looking towards the NFL for entertainment purposes. When I was a kid, my gosh, the NFL playoffs were the biggest thing for me, because I was cooped up in New Jersey. It was cold. It was either sleeting, raining, snowing, and I would just get so excited to be able to have the NFL playoffs. I really look forward to them. I still do as an adult. I've got other options now. I'm ambulatory. I wasn't as a kid. Your world when you're 12 years old is very, very small.
It's limited, man. How far can you go on your bike? If the weather allows you to even get on your bike. Right, yeah, I know. Yeah.
That bike was inside. It was just way, way too cold. So the NFL playoffs, since as a little boy, are something that I really enjoyed.
The Rams are 10.5-point favorites over Carolina, and every other game feels pretty close to a toss-up. And the odds, literally, I mean, the Packers are favored on the road in Chicago by 1.5. The Bills, 1.5 favorites over Jacksonville. You got some teams that, they got the home field advantage, they have the better record, but they don't have any playoff experience to speak of, certainly not at key positions. So how far do you really trust them? Jacksonville did play a couple playoff games a couple of years ago. They beat the Chargers and lost to the Chiefs. So there's a little bit of playoff experience there. Caleb Williams in Chicago obviously getting his first taste of it. The Patriots have rebuilt everything since their playoff run. They're 14-3. They're at home, but they're only a 3.5-point favorite over the Chargers.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be much more than that.
Eagles 5.5 over the Niners. It's the rare NFL game that's over 7, and the only one this weekend is that Ram game against Carolina.
And if the Niners won, I wouldn't be floored.
No, actually, I was surprised that Philly's a 5.5-point favorite. I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners won either. That offense looked absolutely unstoppable until the very last game, and Seattle made them look pretty ordinary. Seattle's defense was fantastic. DJ PK.
Hashtag college football.
Miami beats Ole Miss 31-27. Lead changes, 3 scores in the final 5 minutes. Back and forth they went. Plenty of drama. I think a lot of people. I think I felt what a lot of people felt. It's always good to watch the SEC lose, but that Lane Kiffin story and the fact that Ole Miss has really never done anything in football in my lifetime made me kind of root for Ole Miss. I'm like, well, why am I pulling for an SEC team here? I love to watch SEC teams lose, but that was a great finish. So many big plays in the fourth quarter of that game.
Yeah, I don't get into SEC losing. What difference does it make? They're going to be having multiple teams in next year. And
yeah, but are they going to have 3 instead of 5? Open up a couple spots.
I don't really care about that stuff. It's just really hard for me to generate any negative emotion about sports. If you want, it just doesn't bother me. I just enjoyed the game. It was a whale of a game. It's proving what I've been saying. It is so chaotic and such a mess. But when the ball kicks off, none of that matters. It's about what you're going to see. Are you going to be entertained? Are you going to enjoy the product you saw? I made no sense. I couldn't have cared less who won that game. But I came away. I watched the entire game. I was locked on it. It was a lot of fun. And if you want to go the underdog story, fine. Okay. If you consider Ole Miss to be an underdog versus Miami, great. I get all that. But it was just a sensational game. And the game, all the stuff around the game can impact your interest, your attention, your desire, your passion. I understand that. But the game itself, nobody can screw it up.
When you watch Trinidad Chambliss play, do you think NFL undrafted free agent at quarterback?
Well, he wants that 6th year back.
He does, right?
And so we'll see how that plays out. I mean, he wasn't even projected to be the starter this season. So let's see what he can do. Normally, when you have someone with just such little evidence to go by, it's very, very difficult to try to figure out. It's difficult even if you have a lot of evidence sometimes, but when you don't have that much and it's just one season, what do they have? What does he have? If you're a team looking at drafting him or signing him if he goes undrafted, I wouldn't think he would go undrafted the way they draft quarterbacks these days. Not necessarily does that mean he's going to go high, but who cares about that? There's plenty of these quarterbacks in this league who weren't drafted high and have found their spot. I want to see more of him, but I mean, he's a charismatic kid, and he's a leader. You can see the kids around him believe in him and his ability to make big plays. I mean, he didn't lose that game, that's for sure. They scored, and then Miami scores, then he scores again, and then we know Miami scored again on that situation. So I thought he looked brilliant, but I would have to see more and certainly read more about what people who know more than I do think about him.
It's all highly speculative at this point. There are people who think he could be a 6th or 7th round draft pick because it's not a good quarterback draft for all the points you point out about his leadership, ability to win. Lane Kiffin, he probably gets points off because Lane Kiffin is viewed as a guy who can get the most out of people, and he's undersized at 6'1" with a small body of work. And how much of this offense is Lane Kiffin's magic? And there are people who think he's being drafted. I found that surprising when I looked for that. We'll see if he gets the other year.
Care. If it's a bad draft, that's not going to allow you to stick in the league. That may get you drafted, but because there's not good quarterbacks coming out. I don't see where that's going to make you stick. And I also think 6'1" is not that bad. I don't think Caleb Williams. I don't think Brock Purdy. I don't think these guys are 6'4", 6'5". I think Steve Young wasn't all that tall. I think 6'1" is plenty big enough if you're good enough.
Oregon and Indiana in the Peach Bowl tonight. The winner plays Miami in the title game. 5:30 kickoff on ESPN. I'm expecting Indiana. They looked flawless. I know all the stuff. Oh, you got to beat them a second time. Indiana, we just saw them look flawless. And Oregon, they had their struggles along the way. I mean, eventually the score was dominating over Texas Tech, but it's not like they dominated right from the get-go. And Indiana already beat them once in Eugene. So Washington quarterback Damon Williams Jr. doing a complete 360, PK. He's abruptly reversed course. He's announced he'll return to play for the Huskies. He was at risk of facing legal action from Washington and the Big Ten, and he is staying put with the Huskies.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, but, we're asking a 19 or 20-year-old to make the best decisions at all times. You're probably going to be disappointed there.
Former Florida quarterback DJ Lagway announced he'll transfer to Baylor. He's a Texas native, so he'll be in the Big 12. And BYU running back L.J. Martin announced he will return to play for BYU this fall. Big 12's Offensive Player of the Year and leading rusher.
Well, I mean, that's huge for the Cougars, right? I mean, he was really good. He didn't have a lot of backups, so they need to fortify that position a little bit more for sure. But getting him back, that goes a long way to helping you have a good season.
Yeah. Just feel like covering Majerus' Utes, the guys that could go either way, and the guys seem to be guys you think could be going to the NFL, opting to stay for one more year. It was Chase Roberts last year. It's L.J. Martin this year. You saw it with Andre Miller staying, and Van Horn played all 4 years. So did Doliak, for that matter.
A little bit different there. Maybe those guys were getting stuff that we're unaware of. Wouldn't shock me, but we know Martin will get stuff. He will get money. Yeah. And so fortify your position there and also the team while making money. Those guys, I was once with Van Horn doing a story on him for the Sporting News, and we were going to meet at, he lived over by 7th, what am I looking at? 7th East and I-80. There's some apartments there. I picked him up. We went to a restaurant and chatted. It was during the summer, and he made sure that he paid, that he wouldn't let me, and we were just having basic, like a burger or something.
Burger and fries or whatever, yeah.
It was, but he made sure, he said, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, you're giving me your time, and I'm going to make money off you. Yeah. I thought it was, I gave him a ride. I don't know if that was again. I literally picked him up. He didn't have a car at the time, and or his car was busted, one of the two, so I had to go pick him up, which was obviously no problem. I thought, well, you're volunteering your time, and I was writing a Sporting News big story on him, and he wouldn't let me pay. Oh, this is an NCAA violation. I don't want to take the chance. Okay,
I get it. He didn't want to lose a game or two over $5 or $10,
but I wasn't going to report him.
I know. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Detroit Tigers and ace Derek Skubal were unable to come to terms. So Skubal wants $32 million. The Tigers are offering $19 million. High stakes arbitration showdown. The reigning Cy Young Award winner.
The way arbitration works, it's either or. It's not a compromise, right?
No, they just had the deadline for the compromises passed. So you're right. Now the arbitrator has to pick one of the two numbers.
Oh, I'd say pick 32. What the heck?
That's what Scubal's thinking is going to happen.
Guy grew up in Kingman, Arizona, which is 100 miles outside of Vegas. For any, I'm sure all the people who we got a lot of listeners who are from Arizona have driven that route. And be careful too, because that's a big speed trap right before and after Kingman. I've seen guys being pulled over many times. Obviously, I've made that trip many times myself. And he only had one offer, Seattle University. He goes there or blows up. He's going to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, as is Skeens, the kid from Southern California who spent a year or two at Air Force and then transferred over to LSU. He's going to pitch, and they're regarded as the two best pitchers. Now, they have a bunch of rules as far as what they want you to do with innings, so it's not like you're going to go out there and throw a no-hitter because they're not going to pitch that long. But both of these guys, two best pitchers, have signed on to be in the Baseball Classic in March.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
The 7-game homestand continues for the Utah Mammoth. Game 2, the St. Louis Blues coming to town. A division game. The Blues sitting on 42 points and the Mammoth on 45. Everybody's thinking, got to get going. Got to get 2 points tonight. Puck drops at 7, pregame at 6.
Yeah. It's fun for this team to have these games have such huge stakes in January and implications. You have literal stakes in the point standings, but implications. Oh, man, it's the first 3-game win streak since earlier in the season. Now they got it going. Blah, blah, blah. Cooley will come back in a bit. Yeah, and they'll roll into basically the Olympic break with a whole lot of momentum, man, and then they'll come back and they'll be charged. We're using each game as if it's some springboard to something much bigger, even though it's not literally that. We're anticipating that it be that, and that's a fun situation to be in.
Adrian Denny, 6 o'clock tonight with Hockey Night in Utah. Mike Folta on the call at 7. That is what is trending. DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Kevin Graham's talking football at 8 o'clock. David Locke is talking Jazz at 8:30. And Dustin Smith is talking quarterbacks at 9 o'clock. A lot of football ahead. The question of the day is next. Stay with us.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
Don't touch that button.
Check this out.
Eric Weddle, kind enough to join us.
We need to get back to players that want to be a part of our university, that will appreciate what the university can give them. The culture, the buy-in, what Coach Morgan and those guys are going to be emphasizing day in and day out of being great men on and off the field, right? Future leaders, future husbands and fathers. Like, those programs are what I want my son to be a part of. It's not the guys that are money hungry. We're not going to beg people to stay at our university. We're not going to overpay guys because they got other universities that are offering more money. Then if that's the case and you don't appreciate what this school can give you, then good luck, because we're going to be fine. The University of Utah is an amazing school with amazing support, and those who want to be a part of it, let's ride.
It's Hans and Scotty. Weekdays from noon to 3. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. It is time for our hot takes or toast. Utah star defensive end John Henry Daly commits to Michigan. Not a big surprise. We knew he was in the portal. Everybody had an idea where he might end up. Now he's committed to Michigan. Ute fans, what is your mood about all of this? And PK, if we had to sum it up very quickly, the answer is not good.
Not good.
Not good.
This
John,
is an amazing situation.
Yeah, there is some nuance to it. John says, I hope selfishly that he'd stay at Utah for our own enjoyment. But it is unsurprising he went to Michigan. That's hard to turn down, and I expect he'll continue to do great things on an even bigger stage.
Well, I wish the kid luck, yeah, for sure, and good health, because if he has the good health, then he doesn't need luck. He's that type of player. He certainly was at Utah. We'll see if he can do it. And yeah, the fact is, too, if you're trying to improve your draft stock, and we can look at it, and Utah plays football at a high level. We've said it. I'm committed to it. I will defend it to the ends of the earth. But the fact is, if you do it in Michigan, it's a bigger deal. It somehow, to the NFL, proves a little bit more than the Big 12, even though Utah can rank with many programs and putting great defensive linemen and great defensive players into the NFL. But it's bigger than John's decision. This is the whole Michigan-Utah thing here and how it's happened with them taking Kyle, obviously taking pretty much the entire offensive staff. And then you guys were talking about yesterday, the strength and conditioning guy, and it even dips down to BYU. Well, let's see. I'll take a couple of BYU guys too. I think basically he takes Jay, and then Jay takes Gennaro, rather than Kyle saying, Jay, you got to take Gennaro. My guess would be that would more of a Jay saying, hey, I want to take Gennaro, and Kyle saying, sure, fine, if you think so. I believe you. And so obviously it took two coaches away, but it gutted certainly Utah's offensive staff. And now we have one player. If it's only one player, I would consider Utah very fortunate, particularly when you start comparing to other places. And obviously the foremost example right now is Iowa State, with I think it's like 16, 17 guys going to Penn State over there, with Matt Campbell doing his thing with Penn State next year. So if you only lose John, I think that would be fortunate, but I have a feeling it'll be more than that. It's a really bizarre deal here. It's like, it's one of these things, you read about tragedies every day, something. And we obviously had something there a couple of nights ago there in Salt Lake on the west side. But it seems like, and I'm making a comparison of real life to football, so there really is no comparison. But when you hear these things, oh, that always happens to somebody else. It doesn't happen to me. And then when you see, and that obviously is a million trillion times more serious. When you see like the Matt Campbell thing, it's like, oh, that happens to other schools. That doesn't really happen to us. And here in the small detail, just a small particle of life here, it's happening to Utah when you wouldn't think it'd happen to Utah because we're out here in the middle of nowhere. Nobody pays attention to us. We don't have that. And sure enough, Michigan, a big-time blue blood, is stealing a lot of your people. And that's just – it's an amazing, incredible story, even if it would have been more natural, meaning that – the Michigan Wolverines administration came after Kyle to hire him, and then he tells Utah, okay, I'm leaving. Now, we know that's not the way it happened, so you add on the way it happened, and it becomes more bizarre than the traditional coach leave to take a better job situation that we see all the time.
Once it happened, you knew players were going. You knew coaches. The question is how many? This is one. I assume it'll be 2 or 3. I don't think it turns into an Iowa State-Penn State situation. Penn State's coming off a down year. Michigan's got a young team. I think this is Michigan, when they won the title 2 years ago, was loaded. There were a lot of guys. It was kind of like when Urban Meyer was at Utah. There were a lot of seniors and their underclassmen going to the draft. And so I think they lost their entire offense. They may have had like one starter back. I mean, it was just, that was a veteran team. So Kyle's going into a place where a lot of freshmen, sophomore, highly recruited have started to play. So I don't think he needs a lot of guys. I don't think he'll take a lot of guys, but Utah always produces NFL guys. And college football, no matter how good your team is, you can always use a couple more NFL guys. So the top end of the roster, yeah, it's one. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by 2 or 3. Now, I think if we start getting to 7, 8, 9, people are going to be surprised.
Off Utah's roster, I believe I saw the list yesterday that they have taken 7 transfers so far.
Michigan has taken
it's
7?
An okay number. I think that's what I saw.
Oh,
yeah, you can go look it up.
All right.
But just cruising around yesterday to get this information, because this is a wild time. Yeah. It seems like if you're off social media for an hour,
you miss another one. Yeah.
You missed 5 players that have committed to XYZ school. And so I was searching around when I saw John made that decision. How many have they had? And that's not an outrageous number. I mean, Utah itself has had 30, 40 guys, when you include the new recruits too, as far as being brand new to the roster. And I think Smith Snowden was there at Michigan, and I saw something. Oh, he had a fantastic time. Well, of course you're going to have a fantastic time. You're at Michigan. You can go to Chico State, and they're going to wine and dine you. So they're trying to put their best foot forward. It's like when you met Honey's parents. I mean, I'm sure you actually probably shaved, but maybe bought yourself a new suit and had some cummerbunds and made sure you were looking as good as you could possibly look, which, that's not easy to do. But you did that. You put your best foot forward. And then sure enough, man, you wooed Honey. And now she's yours forever and ever. I mean, look at it. It worked perfectly.
First off, I did not have cummerbund on the old bingo card for today's show, so that you broke some new ground there. And second off, at that point in my life, I was shaving like once every other month.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you made sure
that was the one day in 60 that I needed to shave.
Yes, that proves my point even more. You were making sure you looked your very, very best. With Honey's parents, Mr. Honey. I mean, he was a rigid dude. You didn't mess around with him. High standard, man. That was his daughter.
Seriously, he was Naval Academy. You did not mess
around.
Right,
I knew that. You told me that.
Naval Academy Vietnam veteran. Do not mess around with my father-in-law.
Right. I knew that because you had told me those very facts.
Yep.
So I knew so I could imagine how it would have been in that. My father-in-law was a dude from Switzerland who was an avant-garde guy, and basically, hey, whatever makes you happy, brother.
I can tell you my father-in-law never called me brother.
Although my father-in-law did serve in 2 countries' militaries.
Oh, really?
He served in, Switzerland, and then he came to the U.S. through Canada and came through Detroit, which is how we met my mother-in-law, because I've told you that they have the Detroit background, and that obviously that's up there close to Canada, and then served in the U.S. military. So how about that?
Yeah. I'm looking at a list here. It looks like there's 23 guys in the transfer portal from leaving Michigan. and one has withdrawn and returned to the team. That was big news. Andrew Sprague, who is a well-thought-of tackle for them.
Yeah. So I assume that there might be Smith. Certainly he went there. Would he want to go? Would that he make that official? Wouldn't shock me, but he's got other options.
Yeah.
And so pursue his other options. He's a talented young man, and he's very engaging. And his personality is one that is very, very impressive. So when he goes to these places, now he doesn't necessarily have to introduce himself to the Utah coaches who are at Michigan because they already know him. But if he goes to these other places, you're going to walk away thinking, wow, that's a kid I would like to have in my program because he's an impressive young man and he's got skill. So he has the options. We'll see how that plays out in the coming days, and you go from there. But this is really just a crazy situation to have this be Utah to Michigan. What a connection. You know, it was weird in a sense when Bronco brought his guys with him to go there, Kelly Papinga being one, and Robert and I and others, obviously. I think Jason Beck was there too, right? And so they followed him over there, and that seemed weird. But this seems even way weirder. Virginia has its place, but it's not Michigan, and few are. And you're going to the cream of the crop. And now I'm hoping he's done, but freaking Whittingham has been all over the place with his stinking interviews, man. You can't get him to shut up now. He's obviously selling the program. Virtually any national show he's done. Yep. I'm so grateful that Oprah does not have the show there anymore, or he'd be on the couch. Or Maury Povich, you are the coach of Michigan.
Maury Povich. And it's not just Utah, though. He just got a running back, Taylor Tatum, from Oklahoma, and he's hit up UNLV and Pitt transfers. So
right. And I think there was several. I think I counted 7.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. BYU keeping guys home. We will get to that next. Stay with us.
This is JJ and Alex.
I got this.
It's official, the 2027 Winter Classic going to get played at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Here's what's cool about this is a fan base and this is a state that knows how to fill up a stadium even if it's cold. And it's one of those deals where I think that a lot of folks are not just excited about it. It's another tip of the cap to the folks at SEG. Frankly, they're pulling out all the stops to make sure that everybody gets visibility in this market, which is what you need.
We're growing up as a sports market, and this is a sign of that. The passion you see in the Delta Center, in their barn, every night they play at home. And then to get an event like this coming to town at Rice-Eccles Stadium. And we're not far off from the 2034 Winter Olympics. Mm-hmm. You just see all these things happening. Just insane the amount of growth we're seeing when it comes to sports. And this is just the next big thing.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Question of the morning, part 2, because PK, have one Utah question, have one BYU question. We got a lot of segments to do, and if Ute and Cougar fans don't have something to talk about, they'll start complaining about the obvious bias.
I believe in inclusion.
There you go. Bear Bachmeier and LJ Martin, both coming back next season. Will the Cougars let the good times roll again?
I would anticipate the answer being yes.
Yeah, the answer's got to be probably yes. You never know, especially in a sport with all the injuries and teams getting gutted and all that. But there's no reason to be sitting here picking against them right now.
No, if they roll out 3 consecutive double-digit win seasons, wow, that's extremely impressive. I really don't know, as a fan of BYU, those fans, what could you possibly ask more of? You want this and that. You want playoff. You want Big 12 title. I understand all that. Everybody wants that. You're no different. Every single Big 12 fan wants to be in Arlington next December in 11 months playing for the right to win the conference. I get that. Now, you're no different than anybody else. But if you roll out and go 10-2 next season in the regular season, wow, that is really, really something. And we may be having the same press conference again where Kalani is saying, yeah, well, I thought about my mistake. Or, no, this is too good to take. I got to do what's best for me and my family.
You just write like 3 press conferences, and then Kalani walks up to the table and picks one of them and walks out and executes that press conference.
Sure. I mean, they all sort of say the same thing.
I do think that what you said, the more you win in a place like BYU in the Big 12, right? There are people who've got these, not 25, but like 50, 100-year pedigrees. And when they're down, where do you think they're going to come shopping for a coach? The phone calls are going to keep coming if the 10-win seasons keep coming. It's Penn State this year, and who will it be next year? Florida State, I don't know. Notre Dame, if Fruin takes off for the NFL at some point, where are they going to come calling? Alabama, excellent point. Yeah, what if they have a 3-loss season and don't make the playoff or are out in the first game? Yeah. I could see that. And where are they going to come calling? And the thing is, in the Mountain West in those days, PK, didn't it feel like we were off the radar? As a state, as a conference, all these programs, off the radar. And it starts changing. And, BYU could punch above their weight, right? The Cotton Bowl season, 1984. But Lavelle wasn't going anywhere. And then the game started changing. I guess Lavelle did turn down the Lions, though. So even then, though, somebody did come calling.
Well, he also turned down Texas at one point, too.
And it's just more obvious than ever now that the phone is going to ring. And the funny thing is, it could be a 10-win season, but the phone could be ringing long before they get to 10 because now coaches are getting fired in September. So you could be off to a 4-0 start. You'd be 5-1, and the phone could be ringing.
I'm waiting for the first athletic director in August to say, man, that was a miserable inter-squad scrimmage. You're gone.
It's just a matter of time.
Our training camp sucked. He's out.
I mean, we haven't put the pads and the helmets on, but it just didn't look right.
Yeah.
Michael says
the way they're rolling.
Yeah. Michael says, how can they not? Everyone is coming back, and he capitalizes everyone.
No, Jack Kelly's not coming back, but I guess you were talking about players who have the options to come back are coming back. Yeah. Every team loses guys and loses quality guys. If you had a quality team, you're going to lose quality guys. That's just the way it works, right? But, it looks like they have an opportunity to return a fair amount of players. They add some guys. If I'm a transfer and I'm comfortable with the rules that they have, I would certainly consider BYU. They're going to have what you are looking for, right? You're going to get massive attention. You're going to play on television. You're going to play some big-time games, blah, blah, blah. And so especially if you're on this part of the country and maybe you've had some interactions with LDS people, and so it's not as foreign. Even if you're not of the faith, you have the familiarity with them. And so you feel like, okay, that'd be fine, especially for a year or two, no problem there. Yeah, I would think that would be an attractive place, and they're going to pay you, and that's going to be important, right? So if you look at what BYU football has to offer, it's certainly not going to ever be for everybody by any stretch, but it looks like it's for more and more people that we wouldn't think originally would be interested and didn't seem to be interested a few years back. Now they are. I mean, you look at the complexion of the roster, it speaks for itself. And also, too, get an opportunity to get some bounce back guys. Dillingham has done very well on that, of not being able to get guys out of the Arizona area right off the bat, but having them go to school, whomever, and then wanting to come back. And that's been something that he's been able to tout. Eventually he would like to, or sooner rather than eventually, he would like to be able to tout, I can get the guys right out of high school, but they still have stars in their eyes, and then they come back. And so that they just got a kid from Washington, a freshman receiver up there in Seattle from the Valley, who is coming back for his next 3 years. Maybe we'll see. Everyone's just basically on a 1-year basis. But for BYU, that's a good thing. And he's done that a little bit, continue to do that, explore that. The future and the present look extremely good for the Cougar football. That's for sure.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are talking more football next. We will talk with Kevin Graham, college football playoffs, youth transfers, NFL playoff games. It's all next. Stay with us.